They said I didn't belong in a pack. That night, the fire decided otherwise. Rain had just stopped when the scent hit me, sharp, wrong, alive. Not the earthy smoke of a campfire. Not the faint trails from chimneys near the pack's border. This was different. This was panic-given scent. The forest was still dripping from the storm, mist curling between the trees, moonlight sliding across wet bark. I should have been in my cabin. The pack didn't like me wandering after dark, but something in the air tugged at me, a pulse I couldn't ignore. Then I saw it. Orange light flickering through the trunks. The nursery. My breath caught. That building was sacred ground, where the Luna watched over the youngest pups. If it burned, the pack would call it an omen. If anyone died, they'd call it my fault. I ran anyway. The heat hit before I reached the clearing. Smoke clawed at my lungs, coating my tongue with metal. The nursery windows glowed like the eyes of a dying god. Inside, shapes moved, small, frantic, crying. I shouted for help, but the only answer was the crack of splintering wood. There was no time to wait for wolves. I yanked my jacket off, wrapped it around my hand, and slammed it through the window. Glass rained down like ice. Come here. I coughed, reaching through the smoke. Tiny whimpers answered. Too scared to move, I climbed in. The heat was a wall. The air shimmered blinding. My vision blurred, and my eyes burned as I crawled across the floor. The pups were huddled in a corner, a knot of silver fur and fear. I gathered the first two, tucked them against my chest, and staggered toward the opening. The world outside was all noise, shouts, distant howls, the pounding of rain on ash. I laid the pups on the grass, their small bodies trembling, and turned back. The fire had grown hungrier. I went again, and again. By the fourth trip my lungs screamed, my skin blistered, and the roof groaned above me like a wounded beast. I thought I heard someone calling my name, but maybe it was the crackling wood twisting my thoughts. On the fifth trip I saw her, the Luna, sprawled near the doorway. Her robe blackened, her arm reaching toward the pups that weren't there anymore. Her eyes fluttered, unfocused. Wake up. I tried to lift her, but she was heavy, the smoke heavier. I dragged her toward the window inch by inch. A burning beam crashed down behind us, showering sparks over my back. Almost there, hands, strong, rough, impossibly hot, grabbed my shoulders from the other side. For a split second I panicked, thinking the fire itself had come alive. Then the voice, deep, commanding, too close, let go. I've got her. The Luna vanished from my grasp, pulled into safety. Before I could climb through, the floor gave a shuddering moan and collapsed, throwing me forward. I fell halfway through the window, arms scraping against the broken glass. The world tilted. I would have hit the ground, but those same hands caught me, steady, powerful, unmistakable. The Alpha King, Gabriel North. Even through the smoke his presence was undeniable. He was taller than any wolf I'd seen, dressed in nothing but soot and authority. His eyes burned gold, alive with fury and something else I couldn't name. For a heartbeat, the fire faded. The noise, the heat, the pain gone. There was only his stare, and the way it felt like the world had narrowed to the space between us. Then his voice cut through it, low and dangerous. Who sent you? I blinked, dazed. No one. But the strength drained from my body before the words could finish. He caught me again, pulling me against his chest. The smell of smoke and pine mixed with something deeper, power, raw and wild. The last thing I saw was the moon breaking through the clouds, silver light falling over the Alpha's face. And the last thing I heard was the growl in his throat. Not rage, not yet, but recognition. Then everything went dark. I saved his heirs, but his eyes said I'd started the fire. I woke to the smell of pine and storm, the kind of scent that felt alive, like lightning waiting for a place to strike. For a moment I thought I was still in the fire, then the softness beneath me said otherwise. Silk sheets, warm bandages around my hands, a ceiling carved from black oak and silver veins of moonstone. I turned my head, wincing. The room glowed faintly, lit by a single lamp and the shifting embers of a fireplace across the wall. It wasn't mine. Nothing about this place could belong to someone like me. And then I saw him. Gabriel North, Alpha King of the Silver Moon Pack. He stood by the window, the stormlight outlining his shoulders, broad and still. Every story the pack ever whispered about him, the wrath, the victories, the oaths, suddenly had a face. He didn't turn immediately. His reflection in the glass moved first, eyes catching gold when the lightning flashed. Then his voice, deep and deliberate. Why were you there before anyone else? My throat felt raw, my voice smaller than I wanted. I just knew. He turned slowly. Each step across the floor sounded heavier than thunder. You knew, he repeated, tasting the words like poison. Humans don't know. Wolves sense. That was the rule that built his world, and I had just broken it. You smelled the fire before the guards, he said. You reached the nursery before the alarms. Tell me how. I don't know, I whispered. Something pulled me. He stopped beside the bed. The air around him was too warm. His presence made breathing an effort. He leaned closer, not touching, but close enough for me to feel the hum of power under his skin. Something, I nodded. His gaze dropped to the bandages on my hands, then rose again to my face. There was no mercy in it, only calculation. The same look a wolf gives to scent it can't categorize. You could have died, I almost did. His jaw tightened. For a second, something flickered there, guilt maybe, but it died as quickly as it came. You shouldn't have gone in. You're human. You don't heal like us. Someone had to, I said, my voice shaking but stubborn. The pups were burning. The silence that followed wasn't empty, it crackled. Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, it was just us, the storm, and the unsaid things hanging between. He stepped back. You risked yourself for children that weren't yours, their pack, I said. That's supposed to mean something, right? That earned the faintest reaction, a muscle jumping in his cheek. The pack doesn't trust you. They don't have to, I said. I didn't do it for them, then why? I met his eyes. Because I heard them cry. He exhaled slowly, like the answer had unsettled him more than the question. For a moment his shoulders lowered. He turned toward the fire, watching the flames climb and fall like memories. My Luna's alive because of you, he said at last. Then why do you look at me like you wish I hadn't been there? His eyes found mine again. Because nothing in this world happens without reason. Fires don't start themselves, and you felt it first. The accusation wasn't loud, but it landed like a blow. My chest tightened. You think I did this? I think you're hiding something, he said softly. And until I know what, you'll stay here, under my watch. I almost laughed, bitter and small. That's a nice way to say prisoner. It's a safer way, he replied. For everyone. Before I could answer, the door opened. The scent of lavender drifted in, followed by a softer voice. Gabriel, the Luna, pale, graceful, but weaker than the story said. Bandages traced her arms. Her golden hair was singed at the ends. Even wounded, she carried a kind of fragile command that made the air shift. She saved them, she said quietly. All of them. Let her rest. His jaw worked, the muscle twitching again. She shouldn't have been there, neither should the fire, the Luna said, voice trembling. Her hand brushed his arm. The goddess spares who she must. Maybe she spared her for a reason. Gabriel didn't respond. He looked back at me, and in his gaze I saw a war no one else could hear, not gratitude, not anger, something older. When the Luna left, the silence returned thicker now. He studied me one last time, like a riddle he couldn't solve. Rest, he said finally, turning toward the door. You'll need your strength for what? I asked. He paused in the doorway. For the questions I'm not done asking. Then he was gone, the sound of his boots fading down the corridor. Only the storm remained, soft rain tapping against glass, thunder sighing in the distance. I sank back into the pillows, the taste of smoke still in my mouth. The alpha scent lingered in the air, pine, ash, storm, and beneath it, a thread I couldn't name, fear, curiosity, recognition. Whatever it wasn't finished with me. And as lightning split the sky outside, I knew one thing for sure. Saving his heirs had changed nothing. It had only begun the fire inside him. They carved my death sentence into the forest, and used my name without knowing it. The forest always wakes first, even before the wolves, before the dawn. You can hear it breathe, leaves shifting, dew whispering across roots. That morning the forest didn't breathe. It held its breath. The guards found it at sunrise. A tree stripped bare of bark, its trunk slick with blood. Nailed to it a heart, still fresh, still beating when they arrived. And across the wood, carved deep and deliberate, 5 words. The halfling belongs to us. When they brought me to see it, the scent of iron burned the air. The pack had gathered in a wide circle, wolves half shifted, hackles raised, voices low with fear and something sharper, accusation. I could feel their eyes like claws against my skin. Halfling, they didn't even know what it meant. But already the word had become a weapon. Gabriel stood near the trunk, his hand brushing the carving. Blood smeared his fingers, staining the lines of his palm. He turned to me, eyes catching morning light like molten gold. Do you recognize this? No, I said. I've never seen anything like it, and yet it has your name. He wasn't wrong. Below the words, carved smaller but clear. Emily, my breath froze. Someone's trying to frame me? I whispered. Or claim you, he said. The crowd murmured. Human scent, one of the scouts growled. Too clean, said another. Not wolf work. Gabriel silenced them with a glance. Back to your posts, he ordered. No one leaves the border unguarded. They scattered like mist, leaving only the alpha, his beta, and me. Silence folded over the clearing again, thick, Waiting. Gabriel wiped his hand on the moss and looked at me. You've been here 3 months, and already the pack divides over you. You think I did this? I think someone wants me to. He reached for something at my throat. The pendant. It had warmed overnight, the faint amber glow pulsing against my skin. When his fingers brushed it, the forest shuddered, a tremor I felt more than heard. Wine surged through the trees, branches bowing as if in warning. He froze. Where did you get this? My grandmother gave it to me when, the night she died. He studied the pendant. A drop of amber encased in silver filigree, threaded with faint runes that had never made sense to me. Now they glowed. That's moonflower, he said slowly. A guardian seal. Guardian. It binds to worlds, human and wolf. You shouldn't even be able to wear it without burning. I looked down. The metal was warm but not painful. Then why doesn't it hurt? He didn't answer. His jaw clenched, eyes flicking to the carved words again. Because you're not just human, Emily, and someone out there knows. The words hit harder than the wind. Not human. I stepped back. You're wrong. I was born in the human town outside the border. My parents are gone, he finished quietly. You told me that. But did you ever wonder why the pack let you live here at all? I stared at him. Because my grandmother was a healer. She served your Luna before the war. Exactly, he said. She didn't just serve. She protected. And she was no ordinary healer. He stepped closer, his voice dropping. She was one of the moon goddess's guardians, the last link between bloodlines. If she gave you that pendant, it means she saw what you could become. I don't want to become anything, I said, backing into a tree. I just wanted a place to belong. Belonging always costs something. He said. The pendant flared suddenly, a sharp pulse of white light. For a heartbeat, the entire clearing lit up. I gasped, covering it with my hand. Gabriel's wolf flickered beneath his skin. I saw it in the way his pupils slit. His breath deepened. The air smelled different now, charged, alive, dangerous. He reached out again, slower this time. Emily, look at me. I did. And for the first time, I saw fear in the alpha's eyes. Whoever carved that message wasn't warning us. He said, they were summoning you. Summoning? There's a reason they called you halfling. The word comes from the old tongue, those born of split blood, blessed and cursed both. Your grandmother kept you hidden for a reason. If the Crimson Fang finds you first, who are they? The ones who burned the border towns last winter, the ones who worship the old bloodlines. They think halflings carry the goddess's favor, then why send a heart? Because they don't want to bless you, they want to claim you. His voice dropped to a whisper, raw and dangerous. And if they do, every wolf under this sky will die. The forest creaked around us, leaves trembling though there was no wind. I wanted to speak, but my throat had turned to stone. Gabriel turned toward the path leading back to the keep. Stay close to me from now on. No one goes near the border without my word. I don't need your protection, I said, the lie thin in my voice. You need it more than you know. He murmured. He walked ahead, leaving me standing before the carved tree. The blood on the bark had dried, but the words still glistened alive, whispering in a language older than breath. The halfling belongs to us. My pulse echoed the phrase. Over and over, like a drum I couldn't silence, and deep inside, where fear should have lived, something else moved, a memory, a voice, a call I wasn't supposed to hear. The forest had chosen me once in fire, now it had named me in blood. He took me to the shrine to tell me the truth. But the moon told us something else. The mountain road curled upward like a silver vein through the trees. Mist hung low, heavy with the scent of rain and iron. We had been walking for hours, no words. Only the sound of boots against stone and the quiet rhythm of breath we didn't dare share. Gabriel didn't look back once. He didn't have to. I could feel him. The pulse of his energy. The way the forest bent around his presence. The path opened to a clearing bathed in cold light. The moon shrine. I had heard the elders whisper about it. A place older than the pack itself. Built where the first alpha once met the moon goddess. It wasn't stone. It was bone and memory. The runes carved across its walls glowed faintly, like veins under translucent skin. Gabriel stopped at the edge of the platform. The wind circled him, pulling the smell of pine, smoke, and thunder into the air between us. Your grandmother brought you here once, he said quietly. You were too young to remember, I frowned. How do you know? Because I was here? He turned to me then, and the look in his eyes hollowed my breath. Your grandmother served the moon goddess. She protected both worlds. She died guarding you. The words hit like a slow strike to the heart. The last night I'd seen my grandmother alive, her hands trembling, her voice shaking as she tied the pendant around my neck. She'd whispered, when the moon calls, don't run. I'd thought it was a bedtime story. Gabriel stepped closer. The pendant isn't just a relic. It carries her oath. When she gave it to you, she passed her vow into your bloodline. The pendant pulsed softly, answering him. I could feel it now, warmth spreading through my chest, thudding in rhythm with my heartbeat. Why me? I asked. I'm not a wolf, you're more, he said, eyes flashing amber. And that terrifies them. He brushed his fingers over one of the glowing runes. The mark brightened, spilling silver light between us. These symbols record the bonds of every alpha that's ever lived. They respond only to truth, or to fate. They are thickened. A hum vibrated under my skin, familiar, aching. I should have stepped back. I didn't. When he turned fully to face me, the moon hit his face just right, outlining every scar, every shadow, and his eyes. Gods, his eyes looked like the same gold I'd seen through fire. Emily, my name sounded different in his voice, heavier, older, as if it carried meaning I didn't yet understand. You shouldn't have come, he said, but I couldn't keep this from you. He reached for my hand. The moment his skin brushed mine, the air broke open. Light, pulse, heat, a shockwave rippled through the shrine. The runes blazed white. The wind rose, howling with something alive. For a heartbeat, I thought I'd been thrown backward. Then I realized it wasn't the world that moved. It was us. The bond. It snapped into place, fierce and alive. I gasped. The pendant burned against my chest. My pulse wasn't my own anymore. It beat with his. Every thought, every tremor, every suppressed emotion echoed inside me. His grief, his rage, his impossible restraint. Gabriel staggered back, clutching his chest. No, he breathed. This can't. What is this? I whispered. The mate bond. His wolf had recognized me. I could feel it, a low growl vibrating through the air. Not threatening, but claiming. No, he said again, shaking his head. I have a Luna. The words cracked in his throat. He sounded less like a king and more like a man standing at the edge of everything he believed. I know, I whispered. The wind stilled. Our breaths filled the space where sound should have been. Then you understand what this means, he said. It means nothing. I stepped closer. If it means nothing, why can I feel you? He didn't answer. His hands trembled at his sides. This bond doesn't lie, I said softly. It never does. It's a mistake. Then tell your wolf that. He flinched. Because we both knew he couldn't. The moonlight grew brighter, turning the world silver. Runes flared to life all around us, circling like constellations. My heart raced, matching his. My skin felt alive, every nerve drawn to him like gravity. I could see memories that weren't mine, his first hunt, his coronation, the weight of a kingdom on his back, and then pain. The memory of fire, of his Luna lying still, cold breath, fevered prayers whispered to a goddess who never answered. I stumbled, gasping. You tried to save her. He froze. Get out of my head. I didn't mean to. That's what this bond does. He snapped. It fuses souls. It doesn't ask. It takes. His anger wasn't toward me. It was toward the universe that had made this happen. He turned away, raking a hand through his hair, chest heaving. I can't do this to her. She doesn't have to know. He spun around, eyes blazing. And what? Pretend you're not in my blood now. Pretend every heartbeat isn't yours. The words ripped through me. Silence followed, terrible, beautiful silence. I wanted to hate him. I couldn't. The moonlight deepened until it felt solid, pressing against us. The pendant burned brighter. The seal at its center splitting open like a flower. A thin line of silver light extended between us, a thread, pulsing. He stared at it. That's the bond, he whispered. Visible only when it's real. So what now? Now, he said, voice low, trembling, we do what we were never meant to, which is, we fight it. He stepped back until the thread strained between us, glowing brighter. I could feel the pain of distance in my own chest. Gabriel, don't. He raised his eyes to the moon. The goddess doesn't make mistakes, he said softly. But sometimes, she tests us. The wind died. The shrine fell silent. Only the faint hum of the bond remained, echoing like a heartbeat in stone. He turned away. Go home, Emily. You know I can't. Then pray, he whispered. Pray the moon forgets what it just saw. He walked down the path, leaving silver footprints that faded with each step. The thread between us thinned but didn't break. It hummed alive, defiant. I stood beneath the glowing runes, the pendant warm against my heart. Above me, the moon shone brighter than it had all year, watching, remembering. And for the first time, I understood what my grandmother meant. When the moon calls, don't run. Because now, it had called us both. They came for the halfling, but they found the guardian. The forest screamed before anyone else did. Not the way wind screams through branches. This was alive, panicked, bleeding. The trees shuddered. The night tasted like copper. Then the halls started. Low, wrong, unnatural. The Crimson Fang had crossed the border. By the time the alarm sounded, half the patrols were already down. Shadows moved like smoke between the trees, wolves marked in crimson runes that burned through their skin. Their eyes glowed red, mouths frothing with fever and worship. "They're too many," someone shouted behind me. "Get the pups to the cellar." Another voice cried, but I couldn't move. The mark at my throat, the pendant, pulsed hard enough to hurt. It was calling me, or warning me. Gabriel's roar split the chaos. One moment he was man, the next, a blur of fur and claws, gold and black in fury. He tore through the first line of attackers like wind through paper, his growl shaking the ground. "Stay behind me," he barked, voice half wolf, half man, but I didn't. The dagger my grandmother left me hung at my hip, humming. I could feel its heartbeat sensing with mine. I drew it, silver handle, crystal blade. Under the moon, it flared bright white, a small sun in the dark. I stepped forward. The first Crimson Fang came at me, eyes wild, teeth dripping. When the blade met his skin, it didn't cut. It cleansed, light burst outward. The runes carved into his chest seared away, leaving skin whole and clean before he fell. Another lunged. I turned, slashed, and light flared again. Each strike burned brighter, each scream shorter, until the air itself began to shimmer with power. Across the clearing, Gabriel fought their leader, Malachi. Twice his size, marked head to toe in blood sigils that writhed when he moved. Every blow Gabriel landed healed instantly. Malachi's laughter echoed through the trees. "You can't kill the chosen, Alpha," he bellowed. "The goddess marked her, not you." Gabriel lunged again, claws raking Malachi's throat, but the wound closed before the blood hit the ground. Malachi's hand shot out, grabbing Gabriel by the neck, lifting him clean off the earth. "You should have let us have her," he hissed. "She's ours by right." I ran. Branches whipped my face, sparks burned my skin, but I didn't stop. The dagger in my hand blazed hotter, brighter, until it was hard to look at. "Let him go," I shouted. Malachi turned, grinned sharp, red eyes finding me. "Ah," he said softly. "The halfling." He dropped Gabriel, who hit the ground hard, gasping. "You have her blood," Malachi said. "Give it freely and I'll spare them." "No," I said. "Then I'll take it." He lunged, faster than sight. The world blurred. Instinct moved where thought couldn't. I raised the dagger. The moment his hand touched me, the blade flared, white light exploding between us. It hurled us both backward, tearing roots from the ground. When I landed, everything rang. The pendant on my chest had shattered open, light spilling like liquid silver down my neck. The bond, the one the shrine created, burned to life inside me, and through it, I felt Gabriel. Pain, rage, fear, and one word, heavy as breath, mine. He rose again, body shaking, eyes pure gold now. No hesitation, no mercy, only instinct. "Emily," he roared. "Throw it." Malachi lunged for him again, claws arsing toward his chest. I didn't think, I didn't aim, I just threw. The dagger cut through the air like a falling star. When it struck, the world went white, light swallowed everything, trees, wolves, earth, sky. There was no fire, no pain, only heat that felt like heartbeat, and in the center of it, a sound, the sharp crack of a curse breaking. When the light faded, the forest was silent. Smoke curled upward in thin ribbons. Ash drifted like snow. Malachi lay on the ground, the dagger buried in his chest, runes burned clean off his skin. His red eyes were gone, replaced by the dull gray of the dead. Around us, the Crimson Fang wolves began to shift back, groaning, confused, freed from whatever spell had bound them. Some cried, some prayed, none attacked. Gabriel stood in the middle of it all, chest rising and falling with exhaustion. He turned toward me. Our eyes met. The golden light in his faded to something softer, sunlight after storm. He crossed the clearing slowly, every step deliberate, every breath shaking. When he stopped in front of me, the pack was already gathering behind him, hundreds of eyes watching. He lifted his hand, touched the side of my face, smearing ash across my cheek. "You should have stayed behind me. You'd be dead if I did." A faint, almost laugh. He looked down, then back up, voice rough but clear enough for the whole pack to hear. "She's no longer outsider," he said. "She's guardian." The word echoed, rolling through the clearing like thunder. Wolves bowed their heads. Some whispered prayers. Others simply stared, not at him, but at me. Gabriel's gaze didn't leave mine. "She's my mate." The declaration hit harder than any roar. For a moment no one breathed. Then a single howl rose, long, low, reverent. Another joined it. Then another. Until the forest trembled under the sound. I felt the bond hum inside my chest. No longer heavy, alive, steady, belonging. The pendant's light dimmed, sinking into my skin as though it had finally found home. Gabriel's hand slipped to the back of my neck, drawing me closer until our foreheads touched. His voice was a whisper meant only for me. "The fire chose you. The moon marked you. The pack will follow you, and you." I breathed. "I already do." The air smelled of rain again, not burning, not fear. The forest that had once screamed now sighed. Content dot above us, dawn broke through the clouds, staining the ashes gold. And as the first howl rose from Gabriel's throat, something inside me answered, not in words, but in sound older than language. For the first time in my life, I howled back.